Now, for more on the story, we're joined live by Peter Schiff, President of investment group Euro-Pacific Capital. Now, this is just the latest in a series of scandals linking America's spying on Germany. Why does Berlin not react more strongly?
I don't know. You know, America is doing a lot to piss off its friends recently, not only spying on them, and believe me, the Americans don't like it any more than the Germans, but we're also fining major European banks in Switzerland, in France, in the UK for violating U.S. law. But, you know, the Germans maybe should be even more concerned with what happened to their gold than about the spying.
Well, just let's talk on that. Why is Europe so dependent economically on the States?
They're not. You know, I think it's the other way around. I think the United States is very dependent on the rest of the world. It's just incumbent on the rest of the world to figure that out. But the U.S. dollar is still functioning as the reserve currency, and so the dollar is a part of a lot of transactions. But there really is no reason for the dollar to be at the center of these transactions, because the dollar shouldn't be the reserve currency. Maybe at one time, when we were the world's largest exporter as far as the biggest trade surpluses, we had a high savings rate, the dollar was backed by gold. You know, at one time maybe the dollar deserved to be the reserve currency, but certainly those conditions have changed dramatically over time. The United States doesn't share any of the characteristics that it had when the dollar became the reserve currency. It's just a matter of time before it no longer functions as the reserve currency. And I think the more we antagonize the rest of the world with the spying or with these huge fines on foreign banks, the quicker that process is going to be to unravel.
Well, if Germany did decide, say, to do something about America's spying activities, what could it actually achieve?
Well, I mean, I don't know what it achieves, but certainly I think what emboldens the United States to act in this way is this feeling of invincibility or superiority. And I think it's going to be very humbling when the truth comes out, when America is going to be forced to face what has happened to this country. We've been living beyond our means. We've been living based on a fantasy, not based on reality. And the world is certainly helping to preserve that fantasy by accumulating U.S. dollars, by continuing to loan us more money. If the world wasn't loaning us so much money, we couldn't afford to spy on anybody, even the American citizens. And, you know, speaking as an American citizen, that would be an improvement.
Well, I tell you what, Germany and the US, they are allies after all. Why should Germany then be afraid that they're being spied on?
Well, look, I mean, Americans are afraid that they're being spied on, too. I mean, nobody wants people spying on them. You know, the government claims that, well, you know, this is all to keep us safe. This is all to protect us from terrorists. But, you know, I don't trust government. And, you know, if the Germans don't trust our government, I mean, I don't trust them either. You always have abuse of power. You want to limit government power. And I think what the U.S. government is doing with respect to American citizens is not only immoral, but unconstitutional. And again, you know, welcome to the club. I mean, if the Germans are upset about our government spying on them, they probably have a right to be. But at least if they're spying on the Germans, maybe they can make an argument that they're, you know, that it might be more related to a potential terrorist threat than spying on Americans.
Peter Schiff, President of investment house Euro-Pacific Capital, we appreciate your time today.